Sorry, y'all. I didn't mean to keep y'all waiting. I was trying to go into invite some other folks in. And let's put some light on this subject. We'll be right back. All right. All right, y'all. I don't know if. Okay. Thought I was saying something different. Yeah, I'm here just to work on my stuff. And I don't know why. I don't know, filter. Okay. All right. So I can't see. Sorry. It's got an orangey overcast. I don't know why that is, but we'll just leave it like that. All right. Going to be working from a couple of how to get that off. Hello, hello, hello. Hey, Miss Sandra, how art thou? I just okay, no filter. Just put something on the screen on the. Okay, there it is. All right. Hey, Miss Sandra. I'm just in here, just piddling around. I thought I'd come here instead of on Facebook and hang out for a little bit. But I also wanted to come in and talk a little bit more about Miss Willie Ote case. I don't know if y'all got a chance to see um, my story that I just posted. Y'all, that is bothering me that I look orange. I'm gonna try to ignore it. All right. So, but yeah, it's good to see you, Sandra. It's been a while. And if you're in and you're watching, please say hello so I can know who you are that's watching. Um, I finished cutting out. Let me just say my name is Alethea. All right, let me get that out of the way. And so I'm the creative founder of So Much Talent, and I'm just hanging out tonight. Just hey Peaches, how art thou? Just hanging out, working in my studio, in my sewing space. See, all right, and so I want to cut out my second. I'm doing the Make 9 2024 challenge. And so there's 9 blocks of things that we have to do. And so I'm working on my first block, working to complete my first block. And why did I choose 2 dresses for my first block? Why? I don't know. But they were supposed to be 2 casual dresses, which they're pretty casual, I guess. The first one was this one, the Mimi G Simplicity 8334. So I've got it all cut out. You saw me post that in my stories on Instagram. So I wanted to go ahead and start sewing it, but I figured it's best if I just go ahead and cut out the other one. Go ahead and get them all cut out, and then I can sit and sew. Because I'm just going to have to sew it a little bit at a time in between projects. All right. So yesterday I took the time to modify the pattern. I thought I was behind, but Rochelle, about Rochelle, well, she's gonna kill me. Rochelle Handmade. Sorry, Rochelle. Um, I just tag her in my pictures, tag her in my photos, but Rochelle Handmade by Design, I believe is what it is. But she's here on YouTube, and I'll make sure that I go back in and edit my description and add her in there so you know who I'm talking about. But she's doing the Make 9 2024 challenge. So I joined it Y'all, why do I put myself through this stuff? Knowing I don't have no business doing nothing. I don't have time. But I just want to be in the loop, right? I mean, I want to make me something. And so I think what drew me into this challenge is the word accountability, because y'all can use some accountability. And I like the fact that she does this like in stages. And so I feel like I can do this in like bite sized pieces, right? And so I like the way she does that. So I feel like I can do that, but I had to be extra and do like two things at one time. So she says I'm ahead of the game, so I'm good with that. So my next, the second dress that I'm doing is very similar to the one that's out now, the one that everybody's doing, the iconic Diane Furstenberg dress, the wrap dress. But I had already had this one picked out, the McCall's, which is very, very similar to it. The only thing that this dress does not have is the cuffs on the sleeves, and I think the sleeves might be a little bit longer on the Diane Furstenberg pattern. But this was the initial pattern that I chose, and I think I'm a Franken pattern, meaning I'm gonna mash up these two patterns together. So what I don't, I love this. I love the silhouette on this one. So I'll do this one, which I think these are. I think I'm gonna do view B, right? I like view B. Want mine a little bit straighter, but I like the collar, and I like the sleeve on the other one. The only thing is, what I don't like about this one is you see how wide open this is. I don't know that I want mine as wide open as that. I want mine to have a little bit more closure with the collar. And so I love the collar idea. So that's what I'm going to use. Which one, Peaches? Which pattern do you have? This one, the 8, McCall's. This is McCall 6884. And then this one is, hey, Tawanda. And then this one is McCall 6959. Which one do you have? So what I'm going to do is align the two just to see where the necklines are. You have 6959. Okay, so you have this one. So this one is very similar to the iconic Diane Furstenberg pattern that's out now. That's rolling around. The one Simplicity re-released again, and several people have sewn it up. So, I've often talked about doing, and I will do this year, and I still haven't rolled out the challenges to the group yet to show you all what we're doing the rest of the year. But outside of the challenges, there are different things, techniques, like I'll do Technique Tuesdays or something like that to show you. One of the things I want to do is show you how you can take an existing pattern to create one of the newer patterns that's out. So instead of, not saying that you can't buy a new pattern, but if you don't want to buy a new pattern, you can use what you have because they're very similar. This is an example of what I'm talking about. And so with just a little bit of tweaks and everything, you can get basically that same look. All right, so the only difference between this one of the major differences that I see between this one and the Diane Furstenberg pattern that's out now is the cuff on the sleeve. And the sleeve might be a little bit longer, right? But you can modify this and just add those little different touches. Hey, Michelle, how art thou? Um, so yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and get into it. But while I was working, and I'll try to keep an eye on your comments, but I'm a little bit behind on my plans for this month. But because this is Black History Month, for those of you that may or may not know, we're doing this whole month is about sewing everything Ankara or African print. If you don't want to sew anything Ankara or African print with Ankara fabric or African print fabric, you can sew red. All right. So this month is usually about Black history, obviously, and then also heart health awareness. Of course, it's because of Valentine's Day. They choose this month to celebrate heart health awareness. And so in honor of that, in honor of Valentine's Day, and in honor of um, Black History Month. That's what we're doing inside the So Much Talent group. But also, I wanted to share, and I was trying to do this on every day, so there's still time because there's plenty of people to spotlight. But I wanted to spotlight historical people in the fashion and creative industry, like whether they're sewists, designers, or have anything to do with fashion. I wanted to spotlight Black celebrities that you might not know. And so I started out tonight on Instagram, and I posted a story on Instagram of this lady here. I hope I can take this down. Um, I actually found the same picture um, on Instagram. And sorry, I know the wording might be backwards. I don't know. But her name is Willie LTK. And Willie LTK was a woman um, back she was born in 1894. And as I was reading and studying up on her, it's a lot of interesting facts about her. Um, but what struck me, and many of you have heard me talk about her, what struck me and what drew me to her um, is that we do basically the same thing. And it was fascinating to find somebody who do what I do and did it in her era, and was popular. Because back then we didn't do a whole lot. We wasn't that popular. We didn't, unless we were somebody's servant or housekeeper or something like that. Of course, there were people who had businesses. Don't get me wrong, Black people is what I'm speaking of. They had businesses, but to learn of a woman that did what I did, that did what I do, was fascinating to me. And my mother brought her to my attention. She saw the article in the newspaper, which is what she clipped, and shared it with me. But Willie OKK, like I said, was born in 1894, and I found out that she was born to, of course, she was born to parents, but her father was a prominent businessman. He owned a barbershop. Um, and so she was around business and everything. And it sounded like they were pretty influential in the area. And he a lot of his clients were white clientele. A lot of them were politicians, business leaders, and stuff like that. And so he was around a lot of this. They were in the area that they lived in was pretty. Sounded like it was a pretty well-to-do area. And so they had a lot of influence in the political realm, business realm, and stuff like that. And so I learned that uh, Miss K learned how to sew from her mother and her grandmother. Okay, let's see what pattern I took out. Yeah, she learned how to sew from her mother and her grandmother. They taught her the basics of sewing. And back then, you really didn't learn from, hey, Carmen, how art thou? You didn't learn with commercial patterns and stuff like that. Like our grandmothers and our great grandmothers, they learned how to sew like a lot of what they call modistas in the islands and stuff like that. They learned how to sew pretty much by draping, and by putting things together, piecing things together. They didn't have commercial patterns. Thank you so much, Carmen. I appreciate it. Yeah, so they didn't sew with a lot of commercial patterns. A lot of them they would see, like my grandmother. Let me show you. I'm gonna spotlight this person as well. But so I'm gonna give you a preview. This is my great great grandfather. His name is Andrew Jackson Martin, and he was a tailor here in this local area. I love draping too, Carmen. He was a tailor in our local area in 1917, but his wife sewed. She was a seamstress. And so she was my mother's grandmother. And my mother said that she would go downtown where they couldn't go in and shop. in the stores. They couldn't go in and buy. So my grandmother was skilled. Her grandmother was skilled enough to look at window, do window shopping, and she would see something that she liked, and she would go home, take pull out the newspapers, the old newspapers, and she would draft it out on newspaper, and she would make it. She would be wearing it the next day, you know. So this runs in my family, but this is why I was excited about Willie Ote K. Now even though her grandmother and her mother taught her, hey Miss Addie, even though her grandmother and her mother taught her, she went to I think it was Shaw University. Y'all had to write some of this stuff down. She went to Shaw University and she graduated with home economics, with a home economics degree. But she didn't use the knowledge that she learned. I mean, of course, I'm sure it helped, but she used the skill set that her grandmother taught her. She didn't like working with commercial patterns. My daughter-in-law is the same way. My daughter-in-law does not like working with patterns. She do not like patterns at all. She hate sewing with patterns. I actually got her to make a dress using a pattern, but she 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 fought me pretty much most of the way. Uh, Fab, what is it? Fab Gma, so fabulous. Hey Devia, how art thou? You love draping too. Me too. I told you we're gonna get back into draping, y'all. I promise. We're gonna do a whole session on draping. I promise y'all. But I didn't want this piece. I just pulled this out so I can see the bodice and how the neckline is shaped. Um, but yeah, so anyway, all of her sisters, she was one of eight. Willie Ote Kay was one of eight people in her family. All her sisters sewed and everything. So what had happened was she graduated from Shaw University with a home economics degree. But while she was at the university, she met her husband, who was a doctor. All right. So these black folks now. Okay. He was a doctor, and he and six of his colleagues started a clinic for black people in the area. So now that they got married in 1959, but in 1927 he passed away. He had a procedure done regarding a hernia that he had, and he died from complications of it, right? So now here she is left with her kids. I think she had three children. She was left with three of her kids, and so she had to take care of her children. And so she relied on what she knew how to do, and that was to sew. But what she did was move back into her family home, and that's where she set up business. This is the part that intrigues me because she ran her business out of her home, much like I do. I turn my living room, that's off my foyer, into my studio. And so she did all of this fabulous work from her home. And but what was even more intriguing is the fact that she didn't just have black clientele. She didn't just have like, and I'm not just saying anybody, just anybody, but she had very prominent clientele. Like her clientele were business folks. Like her dad introduced her to a lot of folks and like pushed business her way, and I can imagine why he's there shining shoes or cutting hair or whatever he was doing, grooming these men, these businessmen and stuff like that. He was like, hey, well, I hear your daughter's about to get married. My daughter, she make clothes, she make beautiful gowns and stuff like that. So he was throwing business her way, and these people were catching on, So I sew for a lot of politicians. I sew for I've sewn for my mayor, my former mayor. I made his mother's 50th anniversary dress. My former mayor ex-wife just remarried, and I altered her gown. And my mayor now, I am altering his daughter's cotillion gown. So I do the same thing. I make wedding gowns, I alter wedding gowns, I make cotillion gowns, I make prom dresses. And so you can see why this fascinated me. Hey Carol, you can see why I'm fascinated by this And so I've met with a lot of politicians. I've met with some celebrities, worked with celebrities, a lot of business leaders in the community and stuff like that. I'm low key, like I don't advertise my business. I don't have to advertise my business because all of my business has come word of mouth, and so I stay pretty busy. I've had to turn work away, um, but that's why I said a lot of what I do now. A lot of my situation is about to change. Yes, celebrity. Yes, so a lot of my situation is about to change because I can no longer. It's starting to be taxing now. Like, and there's a reason why I won't get into all of the reasons of it, but there's a reason why I am where I am right now. And for those of, for those of you that know, uh, and when I say I'm no spiritual person, I'm a godly woman, a woman of God. I listen to the voice of God. I let Him lead me and guide me in what I should do. And there's a reason why He has me doing the things that I do. I don't know about that, Carm. I don't know about that. Um, but I have worked with a lot of people. I've met a lot of people. Um, but I'm not one that just go and brag about, you know, a client is a client to me. If that makes sense. Like, I try not to make a big to do because people, now there are some people who like to be known as famous and they like to showboat and stuff like that. But oddly enough, there are some people who just want you to treat them normal. They just want you to treat them just like anybody else. And so that's what I do a lot of times. I treat you just like everybody else. I don't care if you Sister Sue and you clean the houses, or you in the White House, or you the first lady of my city. I try to treat you the same. I treat everybody with the same respect. Because everybody's money is the same, right? I don't know nobody's dollars that say these are the dollars from the state house, or these are the dollars from the Capitol. Everybody's green is the same, right? You're blessing so many people. People love your energy and your spirit, and that's why they want to be around you. You, of course, having an amazing skill set and God-given talent. Thank you so much, Carmen. That really touched me, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm always blessed, and I'm more so blessed when my clients tell me that they like what you said, Carmen, that they like being around me. I have one lady right now who drives in from New York. I'm here in Georgia. I'm here in yeah, I'm here in Georgia. But she drove here. She drives here from New York for me to do her alterations and for me to create for her. Um, I did all of her bridesmaids dresses. I made all of her bridesmaids dresses. And so she has family in another city close by. But when she comes in, if she drops stuff off and I need her to come in and do alterations, or like during the time that I was making her bridesmaids dresses, anytime I needed her to come in, she would drive in, and it was nothing to her because she knew she wanted to work with me. I appreciate people like that. Like, I go above and beyond. Yeah, New York, yeah, I go above and beyond because they have taken the time to appreciate me and appreciate my business. And so every time she comes in, she says, "You know what? I just love your spirit. I love working with you." And I appreciate that. I appreciate that. That means a lot to me because what I do is far beyond just making a dress and making money. Like, I put all of me into what I do, and because I enjoy what I do, um, I'm guarded. I guard what I do. Like, I don't ever want it to be a burden because I know God gave me this gift. And so I always want it to not just be a blessing to me, but I want what I do to be a blessing to other people as well. My motto is I'm blessed to be a blessing. So, but that's what I do. But generally, what I do, same thing like Miss Otay, she does. And like I said, she didn't like to sew by patterns like I'm doing now. It don't matter to me because I can take a pattern. Most y'all know most of my patterns I'll take and hack and mix it up. At the end of the day, we end up working with a pattern anyway, right? Because we drape, that draping turns into a pattern. So we still got to cut something out. So it doesn't bother me to work with commercial patterns, but a lot of times I don't work with them as is. I got to modify it some kind of way. So, but what I learned is that what she do, exact same thing I do. She has a consultation with her clients, or she had a consultation with her clients. She present them sketches because she listens to what they want, listen to their what they're looking for, what they desire. And the one thing I like about my clients is that if they're looking to have something made and it don't quite look good on them, or I think it's not for their body type, because we see a lot of stuff that we like because we see it on somebody else, but it might not look good on me, might not look good on you. And so my clients allow me to show them or speak to them about what works best. They trust me. They trust my opinion. And so before I tell somebody something doesn't look good on them, I like to offer a suggestion. Can I offer a recommendation? I think if you do this, this will give you the most impact, or this will best suit your silhouette, instead of saying, girl, I ain't gonna look good on you. I rarely make patterns as is. I laugh out loud. And ain't nothing wrong with that. I see that you take the time with each of your projects. My motto is be a blessing to others. You're a preacher's kid. Awesome. Yeah, I'm not a preacher's kid. Now, many of you might not know this, but I do minister the word of God. I do share the word. I'm an encourager. And so I'm not licensed or anything like that. But, the Bible tells us that we're all called to minister the word of God to minister. So the word means a lot to me. Um, but anyway, so she creates sketches. They and then she does a mock-up. Y'all know we talk about these mock-ups and these muslins. That's what she do. She do a muslin. She do a muslin. She put it all together. She drape it out, do a muslin, and then she test fit it. But she do it tissue fit pattern or tissue fit muslin, and then she work out all the kinks and everything, and then she makes her garment. So y'all see how important it is to make a garment. I mean, to make a muslin. And generally with my customers, that's exactly what I do because they buy. I like to buy my fabric for my customers. Now, what I tell them is that they're part of the process along the way. So I'll find the fabrics. That's part of my research, and that's part of my consultation fee that that I charge. Is that part of it is the consultation, going over your ideas and what you want, and then doing the research for the pattern. I mean for the fabric, and then we come together on what that fabric is and what you like, and then we'll go from there. But I don't want to mix these two patterns up. So once we collaborate and we agree on the fabric, then we can go from there. But I like to, when my customers come in, especially if it's a wedding gown, I like to drape them. Like I like to create the pattern on their bodies because everybody's body's different. So I have them wear the bra that they're possibly going to wear, their best bra. I actually create a muslin over bodies. I create a pattern from their body and create the shaping. And then I'll do a mock-up on the basic stuff. And then I'll have them try that. And once I got all the basic stuff fitted, then I'll go in and make their dress, whatever the case may be. No, I don't do tissue fitted. Now, yes and no. Like what I do with my patterns, I use the numbers and the measurements and stuff on the pattern on the tissue to create, to make my adjustments and stuff like that. But as far as like some people, they actually take the tissue pin it together and use that as a mock-up. I don't do that. Yeah, I don't do that. I like fabric, so a lot of times I'm using muslin, uh, real muslin to create a pattern. So I have a lot of envelopes with folks' patterns that I've created and made, whether it's a straight skirt or whether it's a whole gown or a suit, a lady suit or whatnot. Um, but I make it for them. And generally, after a certain amount of time, I don't keep it because guess what? People's body changes. So I'll probably end up having to do it again. Uh, I see that you, okay, I saw that. All right. So yeah, no, I don't do the tissue fit. I don't like that to me because the tissue tears and stuff like that. To me, it's not as accurate. But some people do it and they love it. I like fabric because it's not terrible. That makes sense. All right, so but anyway, Willie OTK has sisters, and all of her sisters helped her sew. And they helped run the business with her because every year she had like 60 clients. And from in one article that I read, most of this information comes from Wikipedia and on the website, but she had 60 clients. And from what I read in one article, she worked with both the black debutantes and the white debutantes. And y'all, believe it or not, today we still have black debutantes and white debutantes. I work with them every year. One's called Social Inc. and one's called Rosa T. Beard. You got the black girls, one group, and you got the white girls in another group. That is still prevalent today. And so um, she was so busy that she would only take so many. She had a waiting list. They sought after her. By word of mouth. And so she had a waiting list for people to utilize her services, whether it was wedding, cotillion, debutante. So she would take, for like the debutante, she would take like 30 of the black girls, and she would take 30 of the white girls. If you didn't make the cut, then you just didn't make the cut. You love fabric too. Um, so Sandra says, so you basically put the fabric on them and mark the armhole, neck, and then pin the dart. Yes, that's exactly what I do, Sandra. Yep, that's exactly what I do. All right, so I think this is the front. Let's see, I want the front back. So yeah, what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to check the neckline on this. And I will say this, a lot of times I make stuff look more difficult than it has to be. Like some people just have an eye to just see shape and stuff. I second guess myself a lot. Y'all hear me say measure twice, cut once. I take a lot of stuff literal. But I'd rather be slow. I'm a true slow sewist. I sew very slow. Let's see. But yeah, so her well, one of the cotillions do have a few of us in it that participate in it, but not many. Yeah, so but not mixed like that. Just a few, maybe one or two. That's it, but not many. Which I find very interesting because in the day and age that we are right now, we still have like our own. We still have the blacks here and the black and the whites there. So I don't know if that will ever change. I don't know. But it just lets you know where stuff still kind of is right now. So I probably could have had all this cut out and done beforehand, but this is my process. This is what I do. And if you notice, I don't, oh shoot. Why is that cut like that? That's interesting. I just cut right through one pattern piece. I just want the neckline of one of them. That's all. So I really want this pattern. I really want that pattern, but I don't like the neckline. I literally probably could have just taken and moved it over some and then added the collar on. I just wanted to see how far over it was. So I'm getting ready to do something here. I'm going to add this back in because I don't know how that. I'm going to cut that off. So, but yeah, that's Miss Willie O'Kay's story. And it's interesting. She actually, she was born in 1894 and she passed away in, when did she pass away? I want to say 1962. She lived like 98 years. I think she was 98 years old. So, no, 2000. I don't know. 1992, I think is when she passed away. I think it was 1992 that she passed away. Yeah, 1992. And but anyway, her sons were actual her daughter, her youngest daughter married a politician in the Atlanta area. So I don't know if you've ever heard of Ralph Campbell. You could probably look him up, but that was her son-in-law, and her daughter became a activist in the area, June Campbell, and their children, two of their boys, Ralph Campbell Jr. and one of the other sons, were politicians as well. So they had a history of politicians, and so it just kind of speaks to their bent in the family. Their family bent was business and politics, and so I just find it interesting that, you know, the whole family just kind of fell into that vein, you know, but they were very influential. The only mixed cotillion I've seen is on Bridgerton, and that is a fake TV show. Right. You absolutely right, Carmen. Absolutely right about that. Um, but yeah, so I'll be doing more of the uh, Black History and fashion Black History, because I find it fascinating. There are some people. Oh, I gotta add one to the list. Um, I gotta add one to the list of sewists, Black sewists. Before I forget, y'all see my list? Got a list of folks. Designers, uh, sewists. Some y'all might be surprised about, some you might not. Um, but I always find it interesting because we think, you know, celebrities and stars, they don't do it. We think they just act. They don't have time for sewing, but some of them, they do make their own clothes. All right, so this is the front of A and B of the pattern that I want to use, and this is the front of the pattern that I'm not interested in using. That's the front of this pattern. So let's see how far off it is. They're both McCall patterns, so they should be cut pretty much on the same block. And I know you can't really see a thing that way, but the shape, pretty much the shape and the pattern is pretty much the same. Yeah, so just as I thought, the neckline comes over just a little bit, probably about 2 inches, and I'm going to show you this in just a second. I don't know if you can see that. Well, I ain't going to tell you who next, Carmen. I ain't going to tell you. Just got to wait and see. I had a whole lineup of pictures of Miss Oteke's dresses. I might share them inside the group. I didn't want to get flagged for copyright infringement. And then I wanted to be able to speak all of this as the pictures were rolling, but y'all, I couldn't even get my words together. I said, you know what? Let me just post this picture because I keep letting days go by and I won't be done posted nothing. All right, so I don't know if you can see that. I don't know why my screen is so dark. Okay, it was starting to light up. But okay, so the pattern underneath is the original pattern. Is the pattern that I want to work with. Let me see if I can draw a line out so you can see. So, okay. So the pattern underneath, this is the outline of the pattern underneath. That's the pattern that I want. So remember I told you it was too far over. It's too wide open. I don't want it that wide open. But see the difference? That's a big difference. That's more than a 2 inch. That's probably almost a 3 inch difference. That's why you have to look at your patterns and you have to test them out. But I can automatically look at it and see that I didn't want it that wide open. Actually, it's not as wide as I think it is. My eye's just bigger. It's just like an inch and a half difference. Yeah, it's just an inch and a half difference. But that's enough to make the difference for me. So what I'm going to do is actually add some paper underneath this and expand this out. So that means that I also have to expand the neckline and the back out as well. All right, so that's why I don't throw any tissue away. I keep it. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and I'm going to keep the back out of this one. And then I'm going to keep the back out of the other one. So now that you see the patterns together, do you feel like you could have avoided cutting out the second pattern? Yeah, and I kind of knew that anyway, Carmen. I just wanted to see the difference in the two. So I made a little outline. I don't know if you can see it by me drafting it out. I can kind of see where I need to veer off from. So what I'm going to do is actually, I can do a slash and slide and slash to this point and then slide the bottom pattern over, if that makes sense, and just add a piece on the inside. And I'll do the same thing with the top. So I'm going to go ahead and put these pattern pieces away, the ones that I don't need. And that's I'm going to put that one away. Because I really don't want the wide skirt. I want mine to be more straight. I want that look right there. It'll be a little bit longer. All right, so I'm using pattern 6884, my original plan. All right, so let's go ahead and get this other stuff out the way. And then I'm going to double check the back of this one. That's the 6884. I'm going to put this away. So I got all of 688. Okay, here's the back. We got it all over the place. All right, so this is the back of the one that I want. Okay. Try to move this out a little bit so you all can see a little bit more. All right, so this is the back of the one that I want to work with. Okay. And then this is the back of the one that I like the high neckline. So I'm going by the armhole. This is what I'm using. Now this is, they're both from a 14 to a 22. Now the back on this one is a little bit different, which I find is interesting. So now what I need to do is find the waist on this. I'm going to match up the waist. And then go from there. And I'm not worried about the armhole and everything on this piece. I just want the neckline. Because I'm going to use the same armhole and everything on the other pattern. I just want to bring this up a little bit. All right. All right, so I'm going to bring this up. Actually, I don't need the, that's the 22. I actually probably would do the 18. So I shouldn't have dropped that one out. Even with the 18, I'm still going to measure it out. Okay. So that's my new neckline for my pattern. Okay. That's for the size 18. So we'll disregard that and just go ahead and cut that out. And leave that like it is. So I'm still going to have to do some modifications. That was just all about changing the neckline. Okay. My eldest son was one of the young men who was part of the Men of Tomorrow at Mount Lebanon Missionary Baptist Church in Chesapeake, Virginia. It's beautiful for the young men to be highlighted. Oh, that's awesome. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and cut. Now, I'm not going to actually, well, you know, I am going to cut it out because I don't need the 22. A wrap dress is a wrap dress. You can always find this type of pattern. So I tend to not use my patterns over again unless I make it a T&T pattern. So I'm going to cut this out because this is for me. All right. And then I'll go from there. All right, so now I've got the, I'm going to put this over here. So I've got the front, and then I know I need to modify. I've got the back, and I need to modify the front. The sleeves and everything, I don't have to change anything on that. This is all from the first pattern. Yeah, I'll put all this away. This is the part you don't see a lot of times, and when we're creating stuff, all of the modifications and the thought process. This is why we talked about, for those of you that's been following me for a minute, y'all know we talk about pricing and stuff like that. And this is why you don't price so low. We, we don't think about a lot of these things when we price our merchandise or our workout. It's one thing to sew, and yeah, it seems like it's easy to sew something together. It don't take that much, but you didn't account for your thought process, figuring stuff out. You didn't account for you having to meet with your client like 2, 3 times for fitting. You didn't account for your time for researching fabrics and all the stuff that's involved outside of sewing. Not to mention utilities and gas and things like that. So a lot more to it than just sewing. All that can go back up. So, I'm going to reintroduce my pricing class as well. It's a lot that I want to do, but time just was not my friend right now. But I believe that is all about to change. So, okay. I do try to get this back in the pattern as neat as I possibly can. Sometimes even pressing it out. But I'm not going to press it out today. Okay. So remember I told you, try not, if you got big pieces of tissue like this, don't throw them out because you can use these to make adjustments and stuff. So this is the part that I'm catching up on. Alright, so this is the tie. Hopefully I'll have enough for the tie. Is anybody sewing tonight? Well, this is the only time I can get some time in. Because I usually see clients on today. My day to see folks. I only take clients on Tuesdays. So I do my pickups and my fittings on Tuesdays. I don't need that. Y'all, it's silly because I've learned, y'all been teaching me some stuff. And I've been really enjoying it. As a matter of fact, tomorrow I got to pick up some more rotary blades. But I've been really utilizing my rotary cutter. Y'all be proud of me. Because y'all know I confess I'm old school. But this little thing come in handy for a lot of stuff. So that was I didn't need that. That was for the right dress. What I do the pattern? Y'all, what I do the pattern? Oh Lord. I don't misplace the pattern somewhere. What did I do with the pattern? Yeah, my pattern just disappeared, y'all. And I know I've got more pattern pieces in there. Oh, then it fell on the floor. Hang on. I don't know how that happened. Nope. Okay. Alright, so was more of the other piece that I didn't need that. Hey, Miss Addie, you upcycling a blouse with denim. I know you've been getting down with that denim. I've been enjoying seeing your denim makes. You working on an Ankara jacket for the Ankara challenge? Ooh, I can't wait to see. Y'all, I want to do a blank a coverlet, not a duvet because that's a little heavier, but I want to do a cover for my bed or either my son's bed. One of the two. But I've been wanting to do that for a while. So I got a whole month to get it together. If I work on it a little bit at a time, I can get it done. All right, so that's the tie for this. This is for C and D. So, ain't ready to use you yet. All right, I'm gonna put this to the side because I know I'm gonna use that in a minute. That's the tie. So what I need to do is figure out what pieces I need. Okay. So I won't be just guessing. That way I know automatically. I think all pieces are probably about the same. All right, so I'm doing dress B. And what I want to see, I want to find out the basics. I want to find out if I need to do a lot of adjustments for the length. If I need to do a lot of adjustments for the hip. My size didn't change much since I took my measurements for my jeans. So I'm going to go with that. And I did add my bust and my waist on there. So, some envelopes. So just so I can see where I am. So 40, 32, 42. All right, so really, and I ain't paying attention to this pattern because it says my hips, my waist and my hips need to be in a size 22. Y'all, do I look like a 22? Well, I don't know, it might. I'm like, y'all see that roll right? I might need 22. No, I ain't doing no 22. That's going to be way too big. I'm going to check it against the tissue paper first because a lot of times they add extra ease into their patterns, which I don't need a whole lot of extra ease. So according to this, my bust, it should be an Peaches, don't laugh at me. According to this, my bust should be in 18. I should be cutting out 18 for my bust and 22 for my waist and my hip. So we're going to check that. We're going to check that and see. So right now, let's get into these pattern pieces. So I need 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so I've got 1. No, wait a minute. I've got 1, 3, and 4. So that's 2. All right, so I got 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I got all of them. I've got the front, the back. I've got the sleeve and the belt. That's all I need. All right. Listen. That's generally what I cut out, a 16 or 18. Now, I'm going to tell you what I used to cut out. I ain't going to tell you that. I used to cut out like a straight 10 or 12. And it would be fine. Man, one time I cut out the 10 or 12, whichever it was, and I hurt my feelings. Hurt my own feelings. Like, babies, menopause, all that. Do a number on your body. But you know what? You have to embrace it because it's a part of life. And either you're going to do something about it or you're not. You know, I was doing something about it. One time I stopped. Y'all need to get back at it. I felt good when I was running. I was up to like 4 miles 3 times a week. And I need to get back to that. I felt good. I felt my best when I was more in shape. But y'all can't be looking like biscuits. Can't be looking like no busted biscuits. Busted can of biscuits. All right. So This is my fabric choice, y'all. So I believe I measured out and it said I had enough fabric. Oh, that was the other thing. I need to check the length. Because I think this, according to her, that looked kind of short. And I don't want mine that short. I want mine a bit longer. So I'm going to, from my shoulder, I'm going to go from my shoulder to, and you notice that I'm holding it at my leg because I don't want to bend. So I'm holding it here and then walking it down. Wait, two. So go from my shoulder, standing straight up. If it's a little bit longer, that's fine. Okay. So I'm just walking it down. I'm gonna do probably about 43 or 44 inches, just so I can cut it short, because my butt take up some, you know, dresses that go with your butt take up a little bit in the back, hike up in the back. We ain't doing that. That's where full butt adjustments come in at, and sway back and all that good stuff. Usually I have to make back length adjustments, and I usually have to make full butt adjustments, which I have more width than full butt, but it still make my skirt hike up in the back. Anyway, for a view B, for a size between 18 and 24, the length is about the same, but from the length to the base of the neck, this says 38 and a quarter, so that means I need to add about 5 inches to this because I want to cut maybe about a 43. So I need to add about 5 inches to the front and the back piece. So that's 10 extra inches. So this pattern, this dress pattern for, let's say, a size 22. This is 60 wide fabric. Calls for 2 3/4 yards, anywhere from 2 5/8 to 2 3/4. So let's just say 3 yards. Let's see, and I need about 10 extra inches, which is a little over 1/4 of a yard. So let's see if I have that. This whole piece right here is 36 inches. Y'all can see that. And I usually do my arm test. I think I got 4 yards, because usually when I buy fabric, I buy at least 4 yards. If I really like it, I'll buy 5. Ooh, I lied. I didn't buy that much this time. Why? Maybe I ain't like it that much. I don't know. Why didn't I buy 4 yards of this? Maybe because I was buying like a whole heap of fabric in Atlanta. So I might not be able to get my extra 10 inches out of this. Same but 3 yards. I might just have to go with what I got. You might just be wearing short dress. So that's 1, 2, 3. Well, I did add an extra 1/4 of an inch on there, didn't I? So that's still probably, I still may be able to do it, because it said for size 22, it's 2 3/4 yards. So I did add an extra 1/4 of a yard on there anyway with the 3 yards. So I should still be fine. All right, so I'm gonna put this aside. But that tells me what I need right off the bat, what I need to try to focus on altering. Okay. Put my handy dandy pink tissue right there. So let's focus on making this adjustment to the front first. to do is, let's see, was that an inch and a half? Oh, where's the little thing at? Here it is. It should be about an inch and a half difference from it's only about an inch and a quarter. So I'm gonna bring this neckline out just a little bit. That's close enough. It's almost an inch and a quarter. 16, 18. All right. So yeah, I'm gonna make an inch and a quarter difference right here. Really, I almost really didn't need to because there's, I don't know if you can see that, I already have a little extra paper right there. No, we ain't gonna play with that. I'll go ahead and cut this extra off. You know what I just do with my let me do this first. I like that little grid right there, right in the middle. I don't know why it's a grid right there. I'm gonna move that there, just like that. Yeah. I'm gonna hold my weights here. Hopefully that won't move that over. Just gonna cut this just to that piece right there. Okay. Just move that over. I need to bring it over just a little bit. And now I'm gonna slide this up under here. I don't need that big piece. Just measure out. That's what I need to be. Make sure that that's not puckering anywhere. All right, there we go. That's, make sure that's secure. Good, right there where I had to split it at. I don't know why that was cut So now we just need to true this up right here. Okay. So that took care of that. So now that comes over a little bit more over my neck. I don't like a wide neck. Don't like that at all. A little extra. That's got to go too. Need that extra tissue paper in the back. Got one that's trying to hang. All right. So that's that for the neckline part of it. Now, I need to make sure. So, I gotta check the bust and I gotta check the waist. Let's see how much fabric is there at the waist. All right, and I do know there's an overlapping in the pattern. But this should be the finished measurement once it overlaps. All right. So I may just to humor McCall's pattern, I may go ahead and do the 16 because I have the 16 and the 22. I'm sorry, the 18 and the 22 on here. So just to humor McCall, I may do it because I don't want to fall short. Let's see the hip measurement. Oh, here's the hip measurement right here. Let's see. Okay, so I don't know, y'all. It's cutting kind of close down there. My hip measures 47. 46 and a half, and this is 48 and a half. So that's exactly 2 inches difference. So we're gonna stick with that. All right, and I can always take it in if it's a little bit too roomy. So we're gonna move between the 18 in the bust to the 22 at the waist. And let's see. I like to try to use my grids. Make sure. Okay, so this is where 22. Nope. 22 is right here. Okay, and then 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. Okay, so 18 right here. All right, so that just means I'm shaped like SpongeBob SquarePants. That means I don't have much definition in there. I'm shaped like a square. Hello, Ariana. How art thou? I don't know what all that is. Probably somebody's child playing. I don't know. The boys are right. Okay. Okay, so probably just some children playing. I don't know. All right. So yeah, I'm gonna go from the bust from a size 18. Go ahead and utilize that, and to help keep my eye focused on the 18, just gonna go ahead and gauge that out. All right, and the 18 from the solid line, that's 22, 20, 18. All right. I just like to keep my eye focused on, because there's so many lines, right? And this one goes to, actually we're going to, that's right at the waist. So we're going to go ahead, for some reason that got cut off. I'm going to go ahead and just add it right back on. Go ahead and modify that. I think there's a way to block spammers. Don't know how to do it. Yeah. You know, we used to run into this a lot when we were on Periscope. I just ignore them, you know, because sometimes they'll find their way back anyway. You know, it's somebody's child. I'm sure playing. If it's an adult, sorry for them. Either way, I don't play with children or clowns. They got nothing better to do. If they want to hang out, so be it. All right. So I'll go ahead and mark that line back there. So where's my, this is what I need. So we're going from this to this, from my 18 to the 22. So that's what it's going to look like. So, and I'm going to do that again in black because I need a sharper black. This one's a little thick, so I'm gonna move this up a little bit. So when I cut it, I'll make sure it's cut correct. All right, so all of this right here will be the 22, and then this right here, I'll need to move between that's what my new line looks like. Let's get that right on in there. And so I'm just going to take these adjustments. I'm just going to take these adjustments and apply them to the next one, to the back piece. So I don't have to try to guess at it. I'll just lay my back piece at the side seams on top of this one. So I know exactly what I need to do. Okay. Alright. So that's what I did for that. Now I need to check one other thing, or two other things. I need to check the back waist length because I usually have to adjust from the nape or the back of the neck to the waist. I usually have to shorten that in the back because I have a sway back, and so all of my dresses, they fold in the back. So I need to check that and make sure I get that straight. Okay. So, but I'm just gonna go ahead and draw out. I should have did this in black. The other one. That's what the neck on it looks like. All right. That's what it looks like. Now from the view B is where I need to make this adjustment too. So from this is view B right here. So I'm going to go ahead and add 5 inches on, remember? I'm going to go ahead and add 5 inches on. Make sure it's the same. Okay. Like it was curving up a little bit. This one. All right. So yeah, I ended up somehow cutting that piece off. So I need to add back on. Right here on the side. So remember that view B is cut straight across. The other view, view A, is cut at an angle. So I'm gonna have to add this back on, add some fabric back on here. Oh Lord, I didn't mean to do that. This here so it won't move while I tape this. All I need is 5 more inches. All right. So I'm gonna add 5 here. It's got a little curve to it. So let's go ahead and so we won't miss that. And then make sure I get this straight down. So I don't know if y'all can see that. Bring this over just a little bit. Make sure I use the sharpest piece. Okay. Making sure I'll be able to move these lines. All right. Use this straight bit. Just make sure. All right. Now, I don't plan on using no more of this. Oh, really? I want to make a quilt. I respect anybody who makes quilts. So I said I kind of made my sons, both my boys, like I won't say it's a knockoff quilt, but it was just a really quick type of quilt. I used their old clothes from when they were growing up, their jeans and their t-shirts. I saved them all and I made a Big 8, a block quilt um, with them. And they still use them. They're grown now. Alright, so that's that. Put the excess fabric off. Let me see this excess fabric here. Alright, so try to get rid of as much excess fabric as possible. Now, I don't generally have to touch the front, but I do have to alter the back, the length of the back. So, let's put this aside for right now. Okay. Let's go ahead and get this excess out. That's why I'm starting to like this rotary cutters. Alright, so now this is where I refer back to the pattern, because I know my length, my back length is about 16.5 inches. And the back length for, we're going to go with size 18, because I cut an 18 at the shoulder and an 18 through here. So I'm going to go with the 18 back waist length. So for size 18, back waist length is 17 inches. So I'm going to shorten it. I'm going to go ahead and shorten it by 1 inch. It says about a half an inch, but I'm going to go ahead and shorten it by an inch, because I want it to have no, like, break. I want to have no crunch or what do you call it, fold in the back, if you will. I am Chase. I'm making a dress. I'm making this dress right here, doing view B. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut all the way up to the line to the side, but not through the side, but I'm cutting from the back. From the back, the back is cut on the fold. So generally what I do, I like to do a back seam. It's better that way, because if I have to take some in and make the adjustments, instead of adding darts in it, I have a seam down the back that I can manipulate the fit, if that makes sense. So I'm going to add on seam allowance right here. Okay, so with that being said, because if you cut this on the fold, if I alter this, it's going to give me a little curve or a little indentation in the back, which is what I need, because I do have a curve. And so in order to maintain that curve and not cut it straight on the fold, I need to add a seam in there so I can keep the curve. All right, so I'm just going to cut. There's a shorten and lengthening line right here. Just going to slash through there. But I'm not going to go all the way to the end, because I need to make a hinge. If for some reason you end up going through, you could always fix it. All right. So where's my little ruler? My little handy dandy. All right. It's kind of like a stencil. What's like a stencil? All right. So like I say, I could do 3/4 of an inch. I'm just gonna go ahead and do an inch. Move it up an inch. It's not gonna hurt anything. And I gave enough room at the bottom. So now what this allows me to do by me marking that an inch up, I'm just going to move this up 1 inch. Now, I could do this and give myself an inch back below the line and give myself an inch. And I'll show you what I do with that in a minute. Okay. So in order to keep the integrity of that side seam and not change the length at the side seam, I just do a slash and slide. Let that meet right there. Okay. Make sure there's no gaping and no puckering. And I like to fortify where I cut at, so I just put tape along that whole piece right there. All right, so you can see that that shortened my waist, my back length right here. Okay, so I'm just going to double check the measurement because I did have to add in. So if I go ahead and measure, there's a 5/8 inch seam allowance. So that's my 5/8 inch mark right there. So let's just double check that and see. Okay, so 16 inches at the waist. So that means it's a 1/2 inch shorter like I planned it, because I said I'm about 16 and a half, or maybe 16 and a quarter. So I shortened it to 16 inches, which is perfect. So that should have no slack in the back. Okay. Well, thank you, Chase. I appreciate it. I will hope after 40-something years, I'm a little bit good at it. All right, so what I'm going to do right here, instead of changing this line right here, there's the cut line, the original cut line. On this, I'm going to do another slash and slide, and I'm going to add an inch right here. Okay, so what I've got this lined up on one of the grid lines so that I can have more accuracy. I've got it marked on the line, and then I'm going to slash and spread that open. Yeah, another one. These look like little bean bags. So I'm going to slash and spread. Okay. I'm going to slash and spread to the next line, because you know these grid lines are 1 inch apart. So right. I'm going to add that there to hold that in place. Right, I'm just going to slide this extra. Slide that on in there. Okay. Make sure I close that up so I won't cut myself. me plenty of tape. All right, now. Now there's a little bit of curvature right there. So what I'm going to do, and this will make, because it curves out a little bit, I'm going to start from the bottom and go to where it broke right here, and it's going to cut a little bit of that off. And that's good because it's supposed to be a straight line right there, right? So we want to make sure that it stays that way. So this is where your I'm gonna create a little grain line. It didn't have a grain line. It looked like it might have curved inward, because that's a whole lot of curvature right there. So let's see where it's going to create. Okay. Cut that little excess off right there. Tawanda. Thank you, Tawanda. No, we get that from. Okay, so remember though, I've got to remind myself to add. I have to remind myself. So remember, that's the back. It almost kind of does that a little bit in the back. Anyway, I have to remind myself to add a 5/8 inch seam allowance, so I don't forget. Okay. Cross out that fold line and add 5/8 inch seam allowance, so I don't forget. All right. So now I can still go ahead and cut this off, because this, remember, I added the 5 inches on, so I still have 5 inches. That's the same. Nothing's changed. Like that. Okay. And I'll probably still end up, because that's inclusive of seam allowance. Hello to everybody that's coming in, who's watching. All right. Put my little bean bags back up. That's what they look like. Bean toss bags. Now the sleeve, the only thing I want to make sure here is that, yeah, I'm not doing a muslin on this one. It's gonna be anything. It's gonna be a wearable muslin. Oh, you know what's missing? What I do want from the other pattern is the collar. I do want the collar from this pattern. No, not that one. I want the collar from here. All right, and then the sleeve is a long sleeve length. Do I want the long? I want a long sleeve length. Yeah, I'm really not a fan of um, I'm not a fan of the 3/4 length sleeve. So I do need to make sure of how long the sleeve length is. So I'm just gonna measure my sleeve length here, my arm length actually. So arm length I measure about right there. And you know just how the chicken bone, the grist, I mean right where the joint on the chicken bone is, kind of how your arm is too. So you have to look for that fold of your arm. Again, I'm just gonna walk my arm down. Sometimes I make it a little bit longer. It's usually about 24 and a half inches. So yeah, it's about 24. I like mine just a little bit past my wrist. So about 24 inches in length is what it should be. And then according to this pattern, there's a 5/8 inch seam allowance. So do about 25 and a half. And cut the 18 out. So it's exactly 25 and a half inches. So I don't have to change anything on this pattern. Oh, I do need to check the biceps. Now my bicep is usually small, so I don't have to adjust it a whole lot. Usually on the sleeve pattern, it has the bicep measurement. So for a size 18, it's 14. If I measure this with this jacket on, it'll be more than enough. So that's 13. Um, yeah, it's about 13 and a quarter. So a size 18 is 14. So it's more than enough. Um, all right. I won't be shouting out nobody's name because I don't know what that name means. You might have me saying something stupid and crazy, and I ain't stupid and crazy. So forgive me if that name is for real, but I just can't take that chance. Alright, so the sleeve pattern is fine. That's good. So the only thing I need now is the collar from this one. Alright. Opening all of this up, insert for the collar, and there it is. Didn't take much to get in there and find it, did it? I can see it, so I didn't have to unfold all that stuff again. So I can finally put this pattern to rest. Alright. So since I modified the neckline to almost mimic this particular pattern. The neckline should be fine on this. Neckline should work. I am making a dress. All right, so I am actually going to call it an evening since I've got that modified and everything. And because I need to go ahead and, I don't know, let's see, use some of this stuff back. Since I don't need to use these right now, I'm going to go ahead. I have a pile developing right here, tissue paper. Get that out of the way. This goes to the pattern that I'm working with now. That's this part right here. So I may go ahead. It's not going to take long to cut it out. So I'll go ahead and adjust it because it's going to be really quick. Give me just a second while I change this. And maybe while I'm looking at this, for those of y'all that's on here clowning, maybe y'all can look at some of this preacher stuff. I would cut it up, but I don't want YouTube to block me. I don't quite know how YouTube work right now. But I'm gonna go press these pieces out real quick. So I've got the front, the back. Uh-oh. I'm missing a piece. Okay, that's the belt over there. So the front, the back, the sleeve. I'm missing something. It's one. What was the sleeve? That's two. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I just have 4 pieces, and then the collar makes 5. All right, like that. Take this longer. And I've got the wrinkle. This ought to be a quick make. cutting it down. Okay. Alright, that didn't take that long. Got the sleeve, got the belt, and I left the collar over there. Yeah. And the hang this right here. So I'll get ready to use those. And this here. Get ready to use that. And this here. So I'll get ready to use this one. And I'll take this. Now I can lay my fabric out. I'll make that. So I probably won't be able to use my rotary cutter for this. Got too much stuff over here on this sleeve. Let's see what I'm doing. All right. So I'm not cutting any pieces on the fold. So I'm going to see if I'm able to what I need to do with this. This is almost the whole piece. So how many pieces of this belt? I need to just cut one. No, I need to cut two. Cut two. All right. So now this is where I'm going to refer to the guide sheet to see their recommendations for cutting this out. All right, make sure I'm laying this out okay. Oh, something just happened right there. I don't know what.